Connecticut woke up to a minor earthquake on Thursday. A small 1.8 magnitude earthquake was recorded near Ledyard just after 8 in the morning.
You heard that correct, my friends. Earthquakes in Connecticut. Not only that, but we have a situation taking place in Ontario that could be military related, but people want answers. And yes, everyone's been asking me, we are having earthquakes once again along those lines of the eclipse. There's no denying the fact that this area is in an uptick of seismic activity for one reason or another. We have been documenting it every day. And yes, my friends, you heard correct. If you did hear about this, NASA is going to be launching rockets into the moon's shadow during the great North American solar eclipse. If there wasn't already enough wild stuff about this eclipse, this helps top it off. We'll discuss this in just a minute, but I've never seen anything like this in my life. We are looking at two areas today, one being Brockville, Ontario, and the other being the state of Connecticut, specifically southern Connecticut, where both areas have had rare seismic events. Connecticut is verifying 3 separate earthquakes, all very small but still super rare. And then we have hundreds and even thousands of people in Ontario near Brockville that are reporting explosions all day. Yesterday, overnight, there are reports saying that people thought this was everything from earthquakes to meteors to a terrorist attack. You name it, it's on these user reports. And still, if you check out the USGS, there is no reported earthquakes in Ontario. Now, what we do have is that weird line coming from Texas straight up towards the Great Lakes of earthquakes. We've seen it before, but to see it now with this eclipse coming is just going to be the craziest thing every day when I look at it. Also, very quickly, I failed to mention I'm a huge Trailer Park Boys fan. That's why some of you may have seen that labeled over on my Google Earth app, so I just wanted to point that out. Anyway, before we finish up with that weird situation in Ontario, let's look very quickly at Connecticut with these 3 earthquakes. It's very odd. You don't see this too often, but here they are. In the last week, we've had one in New Hampshire as well, but these in Connecticut all took place yesterday, with the one in New Hampshire taking place a day before that. So what we have here is a 1.8, a 1.6, and a 2.1, which was the initial earthquake. You do not get these too often in Connecticut. This is very close to Montauk, Long Island. We have Plum Island here, that government island where they do like very weird place. I've tried getting as close to this island as possible, but you do get turned away. You cannot get to this island. Here is the Long Island Sound here, so many people live along this area. We got New York City way down here. So you can imagine when these earthquakes took place, people jumped online to talk about it. And of course, there was eclipse talk in there, April 8th, the end of the world, you name it. And to be honest, you can't really blame anybody. I mean, there's many of us that have been looking at this type of stuff for a long time, but we also have to sympathize and be patient with people that don't know about it yet. Try to be a teacher and not so much an a-hole. That's my motto. All right, and I know many of you have heard of this already, but how weird is this? NASA is going to be launching rockets into the moon's shadow during the eclipse. Now, why are they doing this? This is what they say. When the total solar eclipse passes over North America on April 8th, the sights of the moon and the sun will not be the only features flying high above Earth. NASA is planning to launch a series of rockets to study the impacts the event will have on the atmosphere. The space agency said 3 rockets will launch as part of the atmospheric perturbations around eclipse path mission from the NASA's Wallops Flight Facility in Virginia. The rockets will be tasked with taking observations of how the sudden drop in sunlight affects the ionosphere. And then it goes on to talk about how understanding the ionosphere is a very important thing and this and that, but is this really why they're doing this? Your guess is as good as mine, because at this point, you and I both know there is way too many weird things going on with this solar eclipse that did not take place at all just back in 2017, where we went through another solar eclipse. So people are trying to find out why this one is so special and why so many historic things are attached to it. And now finally, I have a little bit of information about what took place in Canada. If you have any information about this, please send it to me, because as of right now, a good friend of mine just sent me this message when they spoke to someone about the situation who lives in Canada. I just called Fort Drum Range Control. The Air Force is out doing bomb runs. May hear a few more. Nothing to worry about. Freedom, my friend. So hopefully that's exactly what this was. But again, when you go and read the reports, I'll leave the link in the description box. You could tell people were very worried, and I think it has to do with exactly what we're talking about, this eclipse. All the crazy stuff in the news that I'm not even going to mention here. That's for X and Instagram if you want to go check those out. But everybody is worried and on edge for something very extreme to happen. And if you're the type of person that believes that energy fuels reality, then in the end, with all this negative energy, we could be manifesting something that's not so good. So we got to try to stay positive and learn about this stuff in a way to where it can actually help us. And I'm serious, if not for some of you out there, I wouldn't have half the information that I'm able to produce for you all. So it goes without saying that I'm super, super grateful for all you contribute to this channel. It would not be here without you. All right, my friends, that is the info I have. Please share this video on all your social media platforms. It is very important to get this information out and be aware rather than be in the dark. All right, shout out to Canada. I'll see you all in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.